Hey Mixers, welcome back to another WNBA video. My coffee tastes so good this morning and I just woke up feeling incredibly grateful. We are obviously coming off a great week. We had a huge 5-player sweep a couple of days ago. We had a 4-player sweep a couple of days ago. And then yesterday was a good day. So it's been a great week. I think I went up about 30 units this week. We have 2 cash prizes to give away today. Today's only a 1-game slate, so I don't have a lot of hope for today being necessarily the best of days, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the WNBA. I wasn't planning on starting my channel until the NFL season started because that is primarily where I bet, and the NBA as well. But I was doing so well in the WNBA that I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just launch my channel right now. And the WNBA has been very good to me and very good to this channel. So I want to give a huge shout out to those women who, regardless of what you think about their talent level, are working their asses off to entertain us every single day. So let's jump into the recap and give away those cash prizes, and then we'll talk about a couple of bets that I have for you in today's slate on Monday. All right, so we are going to go ahead and spin 2 wheels at the same time here and see what we come up with. All right, it looks like we have PGA Daily and Wave Sliding as our 2 winners. So let's review their comments. PGA Daily said, in the mix, I'll go with Salon and Williams. That's Elizabeth Williams from the Sky. And then Wave Sliding yesterday said, in the mix, Sonia over 21.5 PRA and Nas over 7.5 rebounds. Look great to me. Thanks. Those were the 2 winners. Let's quickly jump into that review. But PGA, I got you because you've won before, so I can reach out to you with that cash prize. And then Wave Sliding, I need you to reach out to me on either Instagram or on X, or you can email me at elixirmixersllc@gmail.com, and I will get that to you. So a couple of days ago, we did have a 4-person full sweep on our best bets. I gave you Elizabeth Williams over 6.5 rebounds. She ended with 9. Rachel Banham over 9.5 points. She had 11. She did struggle in that game, but she was able to get us there. And then Janelle Salon had, this one was crazy. We had her over 10.5 points, and I thought she was going to end at 8 for sure. There was no doubt in my mind that we had lost that bet. And then she nailed a 3-pointer. So that she went over that line for us. Thank you so much. And then Tiffany Hayes over 23.5 fantasy score. This one was a sweat because Tiffany was not shooting at all. She was doing great on her rebounds and assists. But then she did start shooting in the second half, picked it up, and was able to barely get us over that line. She had 3 turnovers, which canceled out, I think, her 1 steal that she had. And so it was really tight. She made it tight there for us. And then our leans, I told you to take Tiffany Hayes over 7.5 rebounds and assists if you could find that line. But the line never came out. At least I never saw a rebounds and assist line come out for her before that game. So we couldn't take that, but it did hit. And then Aaliyah Boston over 3.5 assists. That was our other lean, and it did not hit. So she only had 3 there. So that brings our total WNBA run up to 91.64-2, 58.71%. But wait, we have another day to cover. So in this day, I gave you 5 best bets. I added one in the pinned comment, which didn't hit, so that was terrible. We gave you Dejanai Carrington over 10.5 points. I was absolutely confident about this one. I don't know if you guys saw my post. I was bragging a little bit because I was texting a buddy, and I was telling him how on the app Better, they usually just pull the lines that are juiced to go over. They don't incorporate juice that much. Sometimes you'll see them bump props, but more often you'll just see them take the prop straight off the board. So the only way to beat them is to just know when the line is wrong. And the line was wrong on Dejanai. I told you guys that when Paige was off the court, she was incredible. She was scoring 15 to 16 points a night, and her line was 14.5 to 15.5. I knew that that's what the line should be. I told my buddy in a text she's going to get about 15. She got exactly 15. So I nailed that one spot on. Paige Becker's over 8.5 rebounds and assists. She only had 6 for us. She didn't play the last 2 minutes of the game because the Wings had no chance to win the game. So perhaps she could have gotten us there if she'd stayed in the game, but maybe not. So we should have taken her PRA or maybe just her points, but I don't think it was a bad read. It just didn't cash for us this time. Sonia Citron over 21.5 PRA. She had 29. I've said this in a previous video, but it's worth mentioning again that if you take Sonia Citron, be ready to sweat it out because she is a second half monster. She only had 1 point at the half, and then she cleared this line for us. So she's a second half and fourth quarter monster when they are trying to catch up from behind. If they hold the lead going into the end of the game, she's not going to be hitting her lines. So we need to keep an eye on that. It probably also helped that Shakira Austin was ruled out last minute, which obviously I wasn't expecting that. Or else we definitely would have gone in on Kiki's rebounds, and she had herself an amazing night as well. Naz Hillman over 7.5 rebounds. She had 13. That one was kind of lucky, to be honest, because we took her assuming that Brittany Griner was not going to be playing. And not only did Brittany Griner play, but also Ryan Howard. So I think we got incredibly lucky with Naz Hillman out. She was out there practically the whole entire game. Even when Griner was on the court, Griner and Ryan Howard were on the court, and Naz Hillman was still on the court. So I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. We are going to need to be careful with her as those players play more and more minutes. But I'm glad that she cast that for us. And then I gave you Asia Wilson under 10.5 rebounds in the comments, which was one of the worst calls I've ever made because she had 20. So she almost doubled that line. Hopefully you didn't see that, and hopefully you didn't play it and you had a 3-in-1 day. For me, it was a 3-in-2 day, still a good day. And that brings our total run up to 94, 66, and 2, which is 58.75%, which is great. So we're headed back into that 60% range. Now, today, we just have the one game, and it is the Connecticut Sun, my least favorite team, and they are on the ban list. And then going up against the Golden State Valkyries, who have been playing some pretty interesting games ever since they lost Kayla Thornton. So I don't love this game. I only have one best bet for you, and I have 2 leans, and then I'll tell you how I'm going to be betting that. So we're going to go in on Tiffany Hayes. Like, we're basically just riding this until the wheels fall off. Without Kayla Thornton, she has been the veteran presence on the team who is rebounding and assisting and trying to make sure that this team can accomplish something. So she has been taking a few less shots. She has not been scoring as much, but she has been rebounding and assisting a lot. So we're going to take her over a 7.5 rebounds and assists again. This is juiced to go under, so we are getting an extra payout for it on some apps. She is over in 60% of all of her games without Kayla Thornton. She had 6 and 6 in her last 2 matchups with the Sun, so she was able to get to 6 both times, despite both games being huge 20-plus point blowouts. One was a blowout win, one was a blowout loss, one was in California, one was in Connecticut. So this game is in California. I actually expect it to be closer. I don't expect this to be a blowout. I expect it to be a close game. And I think this game has the potential to be the lowest scoring game in the WNBA this season. So please be careful on it. I'm going to have 1 slip. That's it on this game. I mean, maybe 2 if there's a good promo that I want to take. So my 2 leans to go along with this are Marina Mabrey under 4.5 rebounds. She's over in 38% of games only, so she has a terrible hit rate on her rebounds, but she goes over this line against teams that shoot a lot of 3-pointers. So for instance, the Dream, the Liberty, the Fever, and the Sparks, the biggest 3-point teams in the league, she has gone over this line against those teams. And the Lynx, who also shoot a decent amount of 3-pointers. The Valkyrie do shoot a lot of 3-pointers. So I don't know, maybe she gets there, but she just has a terrible hit rate. And so I'm going to fade her here, but it is just a lean, so it will not count towards our best bets record. And then my other lean here is Cecilia Xandelini over 9.5 points. If you haven't heard her name, you need to learn who this player is because she has been on fire the last couple of games. She's closed out games for the Valkyries, and she's clearly getting a lot of big minutes, especially with Kayla Thornton out. And now that she's a little bit healthier, which she wasn't at the beginning of the year. So she's over in 60% of games without Kayla Thornton, and she's usually well over this line in 2 of the games. She did have 0 in a blowout loss against the Sun a few weeks ago. She only played, I think, 15 minutes in that game. This could easily be a very similar game to that one, or a very, very low scoring game, like I said. And so I just took the big scorer on the Valkyries who had the lowest line. Veronica Burton's line was, I think, 10.5, and Janelle Salon was, I think, 11.5. Tiffany Hayes was 13.5. So I just said, give me Xandelini, and we'll just see how that goes. So the way that I'm going to be betting this, guys, is I'm most likely just going to put all 3 of these players together in 1 slip, flex it, hope for 2 out of the 3. The other option is if we do get a promo, maybe we get a baseball promo that I like, or maybe I get a WNBA promo that I like, and I pair the Tiffany Hayes pick with that, and then I don't bet the leans at all. So that is the other option. I have not made any of these bets yet, but I will within the next couple of hours here, once those promos come out and I can decide what I want to do. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment for me down below. Today there will be no cash giveaway since I just have the one best bet and I don't anticipate adding any more. But I would still love to hear your comments on the WNBA, on these players, on football, on anything that you really want to say. I'm happy to hear it. So I always try to respond, and I appreciate those free little things that you can do to help this channel get larger. No matter how big we get, my picks will always be free to you. So thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.